Hey guys, welcome to Life with Gaz, and today I got my boat rod with me because I'm finally getting out on the blue mink. Now with lockdown I've actually had a few trips called off, so I'm absolutely buzzing to get out. Now it is winter, so hopefully there may be a cod or two about, but obviously there's going to be lots of fish like whiting around, so let's hope we can get through them and find someone else. After steaming out for about 12 miles out to the first mark, just dropped down with that double rig which I had on just there and managed to pick up my first fish, which was only a dab. Now like I said at the start, I'd love to see a cod come over and boat a cod today. Unfortunately though, that didn't happen. But then again, that wasn't just me, there wasn't a cod boated that day. And it just goes to show that on an easterly, those cod just don't get in the mood to feed, and they're really difficult to get onto a hook in that sort of weather. If the wind was round the other direction, lots of people have been saying out there that when it's been westerly, it has been fishing quite well for them. The second fish over at the bar today, I'm boated up there, was a dogfish. Now, I caught a few dogfish today, and normally I don't really see dogfish in the winter. It's my first chance getting out on a boat in the winter, so I'm not sure if that's normal out in this area. But I know generally on the beach, the dogfish are dried up by now, albeit I have had one or two late in the year occasionally. Well, it's no secret the fish are quite plentiful in this session. In fact, I almost got to 50. I ended up with 49 fish in the session in total. And this means obviously we were put on the fish. We found some decent marks. Unfortunately, like I said, the target species which I was going for, cod, just weren't in the mood that day. But 49 fish in one session is not bad going for me, considering there was no mackerel about as of the time of year, so I'm not pulling up strings of fish like I could be with them. Here's my first double hookup of the day. I ended up with a dab on the top and a dogfish on the bottom. Now I ended up with a few double hookups in this session. Funny enough, the next double hookup is actually identical to this one as well, with a dab on the top and a dogfish on the bottom as well. Just funny how things go like that. The boat itself's the Blue Mink, and if anyone's interested in if they're coming up to the Fleetwood end of Blackpool and fancy the trip out, then just search the Blue Mink on Facebook. And what I'll also do is I'll leave a little link in the description underneath the video, so if you are interested in getting out in the bay, then make sure you pop over and check that out, because he's a good skipper on a good boat and pretty much always have a good day when I'm out with him. Just like always, when I'm out on this boat, I pull fish in at a fairly regular rate, albeit today is probably the most fish I've managed to catch in terms of number on any trip that I've been out. The only problem was, this is the very first time I've ever been out on the Blue Mink and I've not caught my target species. But like I was saying, I wasn't too downhearted because no one managed to cod that day either. Now, as I'm sure you guys have already seen, I've also pulled in the third species of the day, which are the whiting as well. And just like normal with whiting, if you catch one, you tend to catch a few, and sometimes I was ending up with double hookups with these guys as well. One of the great things about being this far out is the water generally will stay fairly clear, and this is great for releasing the fish because it means instead of just dropping them into murky water and seeing them disappear instantly, I get a chance to see them swim off and watch them swim back down for about sort of the first 5 or 6 foot of water as they enter. Now, if you're interested in the rig that I'm using, I've got a sort of slider in the middle which holds the weight, and then I've got a pennel at the bottom and a pennel at the top. Now, this is something that I use occasionally when I'm out boat fishing, but if you want to see how I build these rigs, just leave a comment in the comment section down below and I'll maybe put a video together one day of how I make that rig, as well as a few of the other rigs that I put together as well. One of the things that amazes me with the dabs is the fact that so many of them were hooked fair and square in the mouth, even though I was using 4-0 hooks. Now the hooks, the gape on them is too big for the dabs to swallow, so the dabs must be taking the hook point as well as trying to get the worm at the same time. Now of course there were one or two which were foul hooked, but the majority of them seemed to just be hooked around the mouth like they were actually intentionally trying to take the bait. My catches weren't just limited to that of the fish variety, I also got an invertebrate as well. Now this was a little common starfish. This is only a very small one. They can go up to, I think it's about 6 to 8 inches across the arms, but this one obviously not an intended catch at all. When I'm out on the boats, I tend to like to sort of keep the rods in my hands, and the reason for this is literally just personal preference. But of course I had to put the rod down occasionally, and that was just to grab a bite to eat as we were out on the boat for 8 hours, and therefore it meant that I needed a little bit of lunch. And of course with the amount of fish coming in, it didn't take long for that rod to start tapping away. And of course, when you're out fishing and you hit rocks which don't ever get uncovered, occasionally you hook into the life which is attached to them. And I pulled up a couple of stones, just essentially a hook which has gone through something growing off of the rock. With a quick steam in closer to shore, we went to a second mark in the hope that maybe that one would produce a cod or two. Unfortunately it didn't, but the fishing was still good. On this second mark, the dabs were a little bit bigger, very thick fish, and the biggest one I had, I just bought home, and that one weighed in at about 8 ounces, which was great for doing a fried rice and dab dish. So what I'll do is I'll edit that up, and I'll actually put it on in a few weeks' time, if anyone's interested in how I cook these little guys. With this strike into the fish, I felt something nice and heavy, and I'm not going to lie to you, I was a little bit on the disappointed side to see that why it was heavy was the fact that it was a double shot of dogfish. the last hour of the trip we went a bit closer inshore. We went close to the intertidal area, so you can see the water is a lot murkier here and there's almost no visibility once you drop the fish in. But when you come close inshore like this, chances are there could have been a cod or two about. Unfortunately there wasn't, but we still caught. Well guys, unfortunately on the mink we didn't manage to find a cod, but I had a great day out, caught lots of fish. Unfortunately though, like I said, didn't catch my target. But if you've liked this episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button down there, check out my latest fishing video over here and my boat fishing playlist up top.